Well, hello and welcome to Positive M-PACT, the show that highlights all the positive things that people and companies and organizations are doing to make an impact in our communities. Our guest today is Jim Ostrout with Cougars Den.
Thank you, Jonas. Nice to be here.
It's great to have you. What I'm excited about your work is I used to teach at the Cougars Den after-school program years ago, and I didn't even know this was still going on. Can you tell us what you folks have been up to?
Yeah, well, your time was when Jan Marciniak was running the show with Mary Ann Regali, both very respected within the Collaborative for Educational Services, the organization that hosts our program. I hope I'm living up to the tradition that they set. But for the last few years, I took over in Converse about 7 years ago. And then now we are in Palmer High School since they closed the building. We do a lot of the similar things that they do. We still have the school store that they had back then. That was run by Ms. Dana Zarenko. She's still there, still doing it. The kids love that program. It's fantastic. Little fiscal responsibility and things like that. We do a lot of STEM. Our program is focused on math outcomes. So a lot of the students that we target have difficulty in math. We offer some tutoring services, extra homework help, things of that nature, and social emotional learning, how to deal with, relationships with peers, relationships with adults, self-regulation, leadership, things like that.
Now, do you have specific classes that deal with those social emotional things, or is it just sort of as the kids are going about whatever activities that they're working on, it's integrated into each course as they go?
Of all the different enrichments that we run in the afternoon, all have an element of math of some fashion, whether it's in our cooking class where they measure for recipes and things like that. And a part of the social emotional thing is working in a team and in keeping a safe environment within the kitchen and kitchen rules and things like that. We also have a theater program that has been progressing for the last 4 or 5 years. And we're looking to enhance that into doing more stage crew pieces, more of the technological aspect and things like that. So a lot of those programs bring the kids together and teaches them to work together, take on leadership roles,
Now, do the students put on a show as well as part
They have. Traditionally, we have put on a show around Christmas time. The last couple of years, we've been unable to perform the show for various different reasons. But coming this next year, we will have a show during Christmas time, right before we leave for break. For Christmas break, and then hopefully we'll be able to do something in the spring as well.
Well, it does sound like a great opportunity for the kids to learn about taking leadership positions, being able to delegate to each other and work as a team, and not just say my way or the highway, but let's work on this together.
Right.
How many different activities do the students participate in during a typical after-school day? Do they have several options to choose from, or do they have to just do one activity a day? How does that work?
There is usually 3 to 5 activities per day. All the activities are usually preset before the session starts, which we run a fall session from Labor Day to Christmas, and then we run a spring session from the first week in February till June, second week in June.
Okay.
And then when they come the first week, they're introduced to the enrichments of that day, and they're allowed to choose in real time which one they would like to participate on that given day.
Okay.
And then each day the enrichments change. There are some that are multiple day. So like if a student decides to choose to be part of the Palmer Twirlers or Majorettes color guard, who just became part of us this spring, that's a 3-day enrichment. And that has obligations of doing programs outside of school. Like May the 4th, there's the Track 3 Rivers Artisans Festival. They will be there doing a performance.
That's coming up soon.
That's coming up very soon. That's next weekend at PHCC. And they will also be at Celebrate Palmer, however that manifests this year. And they will also be part of the camp, our summer camp offering in July.
What I like about this, it's not just after school, but then it's really getting them involved in various things within the community.
Yes, we encourage the students to try to take on some community projects, assist community organizations as best we can, when we can. And I think it improves the development of the student and gets them invested in their community so that when the time comes for them to leave, they'll always look back fondly of where they came up, where they grew up, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, imagine, we were talking before the show that you think you're right around the 20-year mark that Cougars Den has been a thing in the community.
Yeah, it's been
amazing.
About 20 years. It is. It's unheard of to hear of an after-school program or even some of the rec department programs that I've worked for when I was younger to last that long. The Department of Education, who funds part of our program through a grant, the United Way, who funds part of our program through grants, have been very generous, as well as the parents of the students who participate in our program are always very open for offering help and assistance. I like to keep a good open chain of communication between myself, the school system themselves, because we are a collaboration with the school and the parents. So there's a nice trinity there where we're all there to support the student who is participating in the program successfully, either emotionally, academically, all of that.
Sounds like a real holistic approach
to
providing these enrichment opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is been a factor in the success, in the longevity of this program?
I would say it's been, I think, the community as a whole. With a program like this, no one person is the program. This program doesn't exist because of me, even though I'm the director of the program. It's not me, it's my staff. It's the people who work here at M-PACT who contribute to help us do our on-air program that we run for the students. It's the schools, Miss North, all the teachers that support me, helping collecting data, making sure the kids are successful academically, making sure they get their homework, their grades are up, their attendance is good, and the parents who come and talk to me every day and ask me, how's my son and daughter doing? Is there anything that you need? How can we make it better for them? What are they missing? So it really takes a village, I guess, is the best phrase you can use for that.
We have the 4 villages here in Palmer,
yes, we do.
So that it takes 4 villages apparently.
It does take 4 villages. Yes, very much so.
Well, that's great that the community is so active in this, because it seems so often, especially with these days, everyone is so focused on themselves, on their technologies, and they're just so that they forget that there's this whole other world out there. And it's so great that parents and community members and staff members are all supporting this. How many people work for this? Are they all on staff? Are there volunteers? How does this work?
I do have a couple volunteers from time to time. It ebbs and flows, the number of volunteers that I do take in. Right now I have 2. The rest are staff, paid for by the various grants or parent fees that come through the organization for funding of staff. So I have about 9 staff. Day-to-day staff, there's about 4 or 5. I do have a couple administrators on staff for resources and data collection and things of that nature as well.
Now, one of the things that
grant requirements.
One of the things that sounds beneficial for this program is that the offerings are constantly changing, so it gives the kids something new to sink their teeth into, but
yes.
It also sounds like it might be challenging where you have 9 staff members who are now facilitating how many different activities.
Right.
So how do you divide up all their responsibilities where they can leverage their skills?
So some of the staff members maintain the same enrichments but at different times of the year. So let's take Ms. Zarenko, who's been with the program for a very, very long time. She runs school store each session because that's a constant. The kids work on that every session. And they look to expand the store and in advertising, and they work for a paycheck in there. They have to do inventory.
So the kids actually earn money. That's wonderful.
They have to do payroll, they have to do budgeting, they have to buy inventory. That program has been around forever and the kids love it, and Ms. Z does a great job with it. But she also does a lot of our crafting enrichments that we have, because not only do we focus on that, there's a lot of, we want the kids to have fun, be creative. I love pushing the creative button. So we have some jewelry making with strings, beads, all that kind of stuff. She's doing tiny houses this session that we don't do during the fall. So they're using recycled materials to build small, tiny houses, like doll houses. They're pretty
like little models.
Size. Yes.
I was imagining the tiny house.
There'll be a few
movement
on display at our open house on the 22nd.
Of which I wanted to mention this. You're having an open house. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, our first one.
So is this a way for people who maybe aren't involved with the after-school program to get a taste for what it's like?
Absolutely. This is our first year doing it. Traditionally, I've attended the 6th grade orientation at the high school as my opening night, and then I'm there during open house as well to help recruit and register new parents, give information out, and that kind of thing. We decided to do something earlier in the spring this year so that we can just be more visible and things of that nature. So it's an invitation to all upcoming 6th grade students, so everybody in 5th grade now, and all 6th through 8th grade families that want to come and try some of the enrichments that we have. We'll have a theater workshop with our new theater teacher in the auditorium, hopefully. And then our majorettes color guard will be there in the gymnasium doing a demonstration, and the kids can participate in that as well. And then I will be hosting a small maker space in the hallway outside the auditorium with Legos and some iPads and some video game creation tools. And after that's all said and finished, I will be there to answer any questions, show them what we do other than those enrichments, and I'll have registrations for summer there as well, and information about our fall schedule and things of that nature.
Now that's another thing that I wasn't aware of before today, was that not only is this an after-school program, but it's a summer program as well.
Yes.
How does that work? How can parents sign up their kids for this program?
Very similar to how you sign up for any of the summer offerings that are in town here, either whether it be Pathfinders or the Kids Corner at Old Mill Pond or the Recreation Department one that I headed up a few years ago. You can get registrations at the high school. There will be an Alt Ed, Connect Ed that will come out with a digital registration form. I have a Google form that you can register your child for as well that I created this year, and a digital copy of the registration form that you can print and just bring in. I try to make it as easy as possible for families in any method that they can to register. They can even just text me and tell me that they're going to come, and then after the first day that the child comes, they can do it there with me, and I can answer any questions right there.
That's even better. That's
my office is always open. My office hours are 24/7. So
what I like about this, because you rattled off other programs that are in this community, because there
are so many.
There's so many kids, and I truly believe there is something for everyone.
There is.
And no child has to feel like there's nothing for them, because there's so many opportunities, whether with Cougars Den, where you have a multiple of programs, but there's other organizations as well that are providing wonderful resources for these kids. So this is great. That I really appreciate you doing your part to
happy
to help out
It's for the kids, I'm always willing to help out, always. Yeah. I'm thankful for the teachers I had growing up and the departments. I grew up in a fairly large, very big melting pot city. So there's a lot of different, little diverse
Where did you grow
families. New Britain, Connecticut.
Okay.
It was a big high school. My class was 300, but there were a lot of different things for kids to do as long as you were willing to look. And I think growing up in that type of environment is why I do the things that I do.
And now you're paying it forward to make a positive impact in our community.
Very much so.
That is absolutely wonderful. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us everything. Parting question for you is what's next for Cougars Den, but also what is the thing that you most want our viewers to know about this program?
I think that we're on a good path for creating a safe space for the students of Palmer. No matter what grade, the younger kids are always welcome to come and visit if they wish. The families are welcome to bring their children over and experience Cougars Den with them. The higher school kids are always welcome to come back after they leave, our program and either volunteer, or contribute in some other way to the program. I've had a few students come back and actually teach some classes.
Oh, that's great.
And things like that. I always encourage that. A lot of kids end up going into education. I like to bring them back in and give them a real taste of what it is to work with kids, classroom management and things of that nature. But long term, I really want to, not that it hasn't been already. I mean, Marianne and Jan really cemented Cougars Den as a traditional after-school program here in town, and I want to maintain a family atmosphere, a safe place for the kids to come and enjoy their time away from home, away from school, but still get growth from in both of those things. So.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you again, Jim. And again, the open house Wednesday, May 22nd, 6 p.m. at Palmer High School. If you are at all interested, please be sure to come by and get a taste for what it's like. Until next time, my name is Jonas Kane. Stay positive. Now that we've had a chance to speak with the director of the after-school program, now we're going to talk to some of the real participants so they can tell us about their personal experiences. Take a look. Well, folks, I have some exciting news. We're coming to you from Studio B at M-PACT Studios, and we have two real authentic Cougars Den participants. And because we're in Studio B, they are Bailey and Beverly. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, and thank you for coming on. So, how long have you folks been members of Cougars Den?
3 years.
5.
5 years. Oh my goodness! So you must really like it.
I was at Converse. I moved up to Converse at 4th grade. That's it.
You've been doing it ever since, right? Now, there's lots of different activities that you folks can participate in. What are you participating in now? What classes are you taking?
Well, my favorite's cooking because we make stuff like from scratch every week and it's really fun.
Do you get to eat what you cook and take it home and stuff?
This week we made homemade pasta and it was like really awesome.
What kind of pasta was it?
Fettuccine, and then we made sauce to go on it too, and that was like really good.
So it's the delicious kind.
Yeah.
That sounds great. And how about you, Bailey? What classes are you taking?
I am taking D&D. I'm taking D&D, and that's Dungeons and Dragons, which in the campaign we're in right now that I know at the moment that I think in the campaign we're in, the world is like dying or something because the trees are like dead, like they have bugs inside of them. So the gods might not be like working their jobs correctly or something. So also my group comes in with 5 characters, including my own. Now for my character, he's a monk, and he is half angel. He does not have a normal arm because of an instant. His arm is metal, made of a material that cannot be hurt by like material means. Like say you hit it with a sword, it cannot break. It's called dragon steel. The steel is made out of a certain type of scale that was cut off by one of Tiamat's scales.
I have a question about this. I've never played D&D.
Okay.
So how are these stories created? Do you, as a team, do you folks create your own stories and you play it out, or how does that work?
The dungeon master usually creates the campaign and we like play it.
And who's the dungeon master?
Mr. O'Connor.
Oh, okay. So you have someone who's designated as the person who, as the dungeon master, creates a story, and as a team, you have to work together to get through the campaign.
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot of fun, a way to express creativity and problem solving and teamwork.
It is. It's really fun.
So you played it as well?
Yeah. I was a drow.
And the game's usually on like role playing too. I usually do the best parts, and I'm probably the moral compass of the group.
What's your character like in this game?
My character was a drow, which is like an evil elf.
I don't see evil coming from you, Beverly. You look so nice.
Oh, it's so fun.
You look so kind.
I had to be like a neutral evil because you weren't allowed to be like chaotic evil, but it was still fun.
Well, it sounds like you folks have a lot of fun at this after-school program with Cougars Den. I just have one final question specifically for you, Beverly. Do you ever bring food into your Dungeons and Dragons game to share with your team members?
No, it's all mine.
After cooking class?
No.
No, it's all yours.
Yes.
Well, that's where the evil comes from, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you both so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. A pleasure. Well, we have some very special guests with us. These are real, authentic Cougars Den students. We have Tim and Hannah. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello. So how long have you folks been involved with Cougars Den? Tim?
4 years.
4 years now?
Yep.
How about you, Hannah?
This is my second year.
Second year. And what different activities are you participating in now? Sort of what are you working on?
Right now I'm doing the M-PACT show that we do here.
Can you tell me more about the M-PACT show? What is that?
Just where we do random stuff like record stuff for like the M-PACT show.
So you have your own show here on M-PACT.
Yep.
That's a lot of fun. So is it like you're doing skits, or you're doing what sort of things does your show do?
Like we planned the week before and then we record it the week after.
That's a fun experience. Are you enjoying it?
Yep.
Yeah. And how about you, Hannah? What are you doing?
I've been doing drama, so we do improv, which is probably my favorite part of it.
That sounds scary too, because you don't know what you're going to do until you do it, right?
Sometimes we plan, like we get a topic, like funeral or something.
Do you put the fun in funeral?
Yes. With the person he did the skit with me as well. It was, we were selling funerals apparently, and instead of a funeral, we called it a moving on party. So.
It's all in how you frame it, right? Mm-hmm. Put a positive spin on it.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
For improv, you don't know what's going to happen. You really don't.
How many students are a part of these clubs? Like when you're in drama, you're also in the drama club, right?
Yeah.
So about how many students are in these classes?
For drama, maybe about like 10, maybe.
Mm-hmm. How about in the M-PACT class?
2.
Oh, 2. Oh my goodness. So I imagine you have to really rely on each other a lot. Yeah. Whereas opposed to in the drama, you can all sort of share the responsibilities. But also opens the door for lots of what ifs.
Yeah.
A little birdie told me there's something about a Lego. What is this Lego creation?
Me and Mr. O are doing the Lego Death Star for like the first version of it. We're working on that and trying to finish it.
So the whole Death Star out of Legos.
Yeah.
How big is this thing?
Maybe around like that big.
That's huge. That's huge. How many pieces does this take?
A lot.
Well, that's exciting. Well, I appreciate you two coming on to share with our viewers your experience with Cougars Den. Are you enjoying it so far?
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
You've been on it for 4 years, I suppose, so it must be fun, right?
Yep.
Well, thank you so much.